All right, guys, we got another big fight coming up. We got Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I'm extremely excited for this fight. I think this fight is underrated. There's a lot to unpack. Let's just dive right in. So I think what's happening with the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight is being grossly misunderstood. I think people are seeing the age gap and they're seeing Jake Paul's record fighting against MMA legends who have always been picked against. Everyone always thought that Jake Paul was going to lose because these guys have fight experience. They're veterans. Jake Paul's new to the sport. He's just a Disney guy, et cetera, et cetera. But I think this case is grossly different. Jake Paul has always looked good in these fights because he's fighting smaller guys who aren't pure boxers. The only person that gave him a hard time outside of Tommy Fury, who was a boxer and did win, was Anderson Silva. But this is going to look remarkably different than any of his other fights. And I think people are counting Mike Tyson out, but I honestly think that Mike Tyson is going to absolutely decimate, destroy Jake Paul. And I'm not a Jake Paul hater. I'm actually a huge fan. I think what he's done in the sport is fantastic. I think that he has balls, he has grit, he's dedicated. The guy's got great speed, great power. His skills improve every fight. But if you watch the fighting styles alone, forget about the fact that Mike Tyson's 60 years old. Just put that aside for one moment in time. Jake Paul likes to fight on the front foot, and he likes to catch you coming in. Yeah, he has power. He has the puncher's chance in this case. But the way that he fights is tailor-made to be beat by a guy like Mike Tyson. And I think if Mike Tyson is even Mike Tyson for a minute, he's going to absolutely decimate Jake Paul. He's going to knock him the fuck out. That's what's going to happen. I got Mike Tyson by knockout. To me, it's an easy pick. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. But we're going to see on the night. So, again, like if you guys look at it in general, it's going to look like a wrecking ball that destroys a building running right through Jake Paul. So, Jake Paul in all of his sparring footage, he's always fighting on the front foot at mid-range, which is where he's good. I think that's a huge mistake. His entire training camp should be dedicated to fighting on the inside and not getting rocked when Mike Tyson gets close. Mike Tyson, when he does that side-to-side movement and he comes in heavy, he's got crazy speed still, but his shots are short and compact. He's absolutely going to close distance. He is going to hit Jake Paul, and Jake Paul is going to feel it. These are all facts. I can't see a universe that exists where he doesn't destroy him within a round or two, honestly. I think it can't go past 3, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the first round, honestly. Honestly, guys, let's watch and see what happens, but that's how this shit's going to go down. So Mike Tyson, people are saying, oh, he's doing it for the money. It's an exhibition. The fight is rigged. And I think that because people are looking at it that way, they're missing the central point. My whole prediction is predicated on the fact that Mike Tyson is not broke. He doesn't have to be there. He's not doing it just for fame. He's already the most famous guy on the planet. And he's not going to go in there and disappoint Cus D'Amato. I really think that's a huge part of who Mike Tyson is. He's not going to go in there and get beat up by Jake Paul and tarnish his legacy and have Cus D'Amato in heaven having his head hung low, watching him take his ass whooping for a fucking paycheck. That's not what's going to happen. Mike Tyson looked at this guy. He listened to what everyone was saying about him. Oh, he's washed. He's 60 years old. Don't do it, Mike. You're crazy. And he goes, okay, if that's what you think, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to prove you wrong. You know what this is going to look like? This is going to look like that episode of Rick and Morty where they did man versus car and the dude's trying to wrestle the car and then the car just runs him over. That's exactly what I expect to see in this fight. Once Mike closes distance, he's going to catch him with at least a body shot. I think the left hook to the head is going to be devastating, but I think that Jake Paul only has that overhand right and tries to keep him off with the jab, and he's going to try to stay at range, and that is impossible. He's never fought anybody remotely close to Mike Tyson and the skill set that he brings. The only time that Jake Paul's even been hit reasonably hard by anyone who could crack was Tyron Woodley, and he put him through the ropes in that first fight. You think that Mike Tyson's not going to land a shot just like that and 1,000 times more devastating? He absolutely is going to. He's going to. And again, that head move is going to be too much. I know he's not going to be the Mike Tyson of old. I'm not crazy. Sure, he's going to be a little bit off balance compared to what he used to look like. The speed's not going to be identical, but he has more than enough in the tank and more than enough skills in order to close this fight out fast. So, again, guys, I think Jake Paul's in trouble. I think Mike Tyson is going to absolutely destroy him very quickly, as a matter of fact. And I think that that's the reason why Mike Tyson is taking this fight. I don't think it's any of the bullshit everybody else is saying. I don't think he's there for a check. I don't think he's there, you know what I mean, because like he's delusional in any way. I just think that he has it in him still. You can hear in the way he breathes after he's been training for a while. The guy has energy for days. He breathes like a lion. It's nuts. I mean, watch the Joe Rogan, the interview he did the first time he interviewed with Joe Rogan, and then the second time when he was training with Roy. His whole energy, his aura was different. And yeah, I know we've seen him in a cane recently. He had the ulcer flare up, blah, blah, blah. But when that guy trains and gets into shape in a fighting condition and dedicates himself to it, He is not a regular human being. He is the type of world-class physical talent that the world might never see again. He's different. He's a strange human being. Kind of like Roy Jones Jr. in his prime with his speed and his reflexes and everything like that. But the difference here is the speed and the reflexes go. The power does not. And the way that Mike Tyson fights is defensively responsible. He's not making reads and trying to counter you and like pull counters like Floyd Mayweather and all that shit. He's a wrecking ball. He's a tank. He comes inside. He throws devastating shots. And, you know, people could say it's an exhibition or that it's rigged and blah, blah, blah. Even if that were the case, the way that Mike Tyson's mind is wired will not allow him to do that, to make good on that promise, even if they had a handshake deal in the back of house. He's going to do what Mike Tyson does. Once that bell rings and he starts coming forward and Jake starts trying to hit him and Jake is going to try to knock him out, you think Mike Tyson's going to let Jake hurt him and just let him knock him out and not become Mike Tyson? He's going to. He's going to, and he's going to eat Jake Paul alive. We're going to be talking about this a lot as the fight moves on, leading up to it. I just wanted to put out a brief little overview here now that we're getting close. But my prediction is Mike Tyson by absolute destruction. And by the way, for the record, I'm going to praise Jake Paul. I don't think Jake Paul thinks he's going to win either. I honestly don't. But you have to give him credit to have the balls to step in there because he wrote a check with his mouth that his ass can't cash, but he's going to go and try to cash it anyways. Hooray for Jake Paul. I mean, that's a brave move. I know after he gets knocked out, the world's going to be celebrating. Everyone wants to see Jake Paul get knocked off of his high horse or whatever. But quite frankly, that kid's got bravery. He's got heart. He's got grit. He's a hell of a fighter. And he just bit off more than he can chew this time. He's used to having his fights handicapped. Again, MMA guys who are smaller. He has the more physical capability than they have. He's stronger. He's bigger. He has more of a boxing acumen than they have. They don't know how to deal with anything that Jake Paul's throwing at him. And it's a mismatch. They're outsized. So in this case, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. Jake Paul fucked up, but he's man enough to go in there and make good on it anyways. So my prediction, once again, Mike Tyson by brutal KO. We're going to cover this more and more as the fight goes on. But I mean, guys, I don't know what anyone's saying. There is one other thing I wanted to talk about real fast. There's this weird phenomenon that's happened because Jake Paul keeps fighting these legendary MMA guys and the world keeps picking against him. Then they go out there and he embarrasses them. So now people are gun shy to pick against Jake Paul because every time they do, the kid ends up right and now they're all ashamed. So they're taking the safe road and picking Jake Paul because they don't want that to happen again. But no one's just objectively just looking at the situation and how they move and what their attributes are and their acumen is and just picking objectively, quite honest. They just don't want to be embarrassed again. That's why they're picking Jake Paul for this fight. I got Mike Tyson. I'm not embarrassed. Let's go, Mike. Legend in the sport. Let's fucking go. Caw-caw.
KO.